Holla ballers, what's going on? It's Preachy and we're doing the 5.4 Frost Mage Guide. We have a new mastery, them icicles. You can see them nice and beautifully just above there. Oh, they're sexy. We're going to be talking about everything, your gems, your reforging, and everything you'll need in this final patch of the expansion. Hopefully the final class changes that we're going to see for Siege of Orgrimmar, so you can play Frost like an absolute boss and take some fucking names. Let's go straight into it with your talents. Your talents, you generally got to rock his ice flows. We have a lot of instant casts as a Frost Mage. We just have plenty of them. Therefore, if we do need to move and we don't have an instant casted already, Icy Flows is the one that's going to get us. You activate it, you get to cast that spell on the move, ba-dunk, and then it disappears. Then we have some charges. You get 3 charges involved with the good old Ice Flows. It's got a 20-second recharge. Should be more than enough. Remember, you've always got Blink to get the hell out of there, but we want to keep casting. We want to keep casting spells. We want to keep doing damage. That's most important of all. So Ice Flows is generally the way to go. Blazing Speed has its place. Don't get me wrong, Blazing Speed has its place. Presence of Mind, generally just not useful for us because we have so many instant casts as it is. In our next tier, you want to pick up Ice Barrier. It's generally the go-to. I can tell you get some awesome damage reduction. You'll see everybody else dying around you, and your Ice Barrier is just being an absolute baller. You can see for me there, straight off without any procs, 81k. That does a lot more in the raid as well. Temporal Shield, also good. Be aware of the fights where you might need Temporal Shield, okay? You might need it. Or just go with your Ice Barrier. Pick whatever you want for level 45. No DPS difference whatsoever. At level 60... there are some various choices here. Remember, with talents, guys, it's all about what suits you and what suits the encounter, okay? That's what's decided. Whatever's best generally doesn't really happen. Some talents are better than others, flat out. Some just aren't, and you can pick and choose whatever you want. I prefer Cauterize myself. I'm generally quite good at keeping myself alive and considering my threat and all that kind of business. Therefore, I'm always worried about that. Oh my god, Derpy Derp stood next to me, has just blown the fuck out of me. I didn't see it coming. Oh, GG. And therefore, Cauterize comes and saves me. Or some encounter where people don't react properly or something like that. Cauterize generally saves me, and then I can go ahead and ice block off that Cauterize debuff. Greater Invis is kind of also awesome as well if you're prepared to use it. You get that instant cast invisibility. You get that lovely damage protection as well. Damage taken is reduced by 90% while invisible, so always handy for those big incoming spells that you're worried about. Cold Snap also has its place. 2 ice blocks, better than 1, but you do get that 30-second hypothermia. I prefer Cauterize, pick whatever the hell you want. Now with bombs, always tricky as a mage to pick the right bomb. This is where your Tomes of the Clear Mind are going to go on an encounter-by-encounter basis. Frost does have that wonderful ability to actually use Frost Bomb. The other specs do not. Frost Bomb is brilliant if you've got about 6 targets that you're constantly spamming. Generally doesn't really happen in a boss fight though. So although you can use Frost Bomb in certain encounters, very few and far between. Generally you're going to rock Living Bomb. It's the best single target bomb you can get. And up to 3 targets as well. Very few bosses that have anything more than that going on. But if there is, and you do have lots of things going on all around you, Nether Tempest will start to win, especially when things are all spread out and all that kind of good jazz going on. At level 90, it's generally Invocation. Like I said, there's not always the best talent, but in this tier definitely is. Bear in mind, of course, and I want to repeat this, all the level 90 mage talents are pure dog shit. They're horrible. But Invocation is the least worst pile of shit that you have. Rune of Power was improved, but Invocation is just still better. You've got to keep tracking that debuff. I would love to see you guys pick up some kind of add-on to track that. As you can see, I use my class timer here, and I will also get a tell me when, which lets me know when it's about to run out. You'll see that pop up round about this area very shortly. Let's look at our characters. Your armors are generally the biggest clue as to what your best stats are. So Frost armor is ours, and therefore we want haste, spell haste increased. Haste, haste, haste through the fucking nose, okay? You're going to be gemming pure haste, and you're going to use things that are like haste hit. And of course, if I find the other one, int haste as well. Those are the things you're going to be looking for in your gemming and reforging. Get your haste up. Really, really important. The thing is, with these big haste gems, these 320 haste gems, they are just flat out doing more benefit to your character than pure intellect. That's how it works now. That's the way it should be. Bear in mind, though, that you want to check what your set bonuses are. If I check my belt here, and I don't want to blindly just put the same colours in to get the set bonuses. 60 mastery, there's that tell me when, by the way, just letting me know, hey, your Invoker's energy is about to run out. Cast Invocation, numbnuts. This is looking at a 60 mastery bonus. It's just not that important to me. I'm going to skip that set bonus. I'm going to pick up more haste. So just bear in mind, what are your set bonuses? 180 intellect, I'm going to pick that up. 120 haste, I'm going to pick that up because I get a nice benefit of extra intellect on top of that. And again, 120 intellect there and there. But if I see something like 60 mastery, not for me, my friend. Not for me at all. I really don't want to see that at all. Let's look at our glyphs. Frost does get some good choice with its glyphs. Glyph of Icy Veins now becoming more and more prominent because our haste values get so stupidly high, especially if you're going into Siege of Orgrimmar style gear, then the haste benefit isn't really what we want, and the Glyph of Icy Veins will yield a DPS increase for you, okay? Bear in mind that it might not be as useful for you when you're in sort of early stage, just capped kind of gear. You might not want to pick this up, but once you start picking up some nice shiny purples, you're going to be thinking about moving over to the Glyph of Icy Veins. The problem is, of course, when we have things like Bloodlust and all this kind of stuff, is that our global cooldown, which is affected by haste, that's this cooldown here, will go down to 1 second, and we're just not getting as much benefit from Icy Veins as we would like to see. That's the only reason we take that glyph and get more benefit to actually increase our damage. I love the Glyph of Water Elemental as well. Allows it to cast while moving. Oh, I adore that because I move around a hell of a lot in most encounters. I really like this. I also enjoy the Glyph of Splitting Ice. This wonderful ice lance now hits one additional target for extra damage. More often than not, there is an ad or something going on in a boss fight, and therefore I like picking that up. But also bear in mind, some good choices are Arcane Explosion. We're still going to be using Arcane Explosions until we reach ridiculous levels of haste. I mean, really ridiculous levels of haste, but we'll talk about that in the AoE section. And then you can go down and you can pick up some others if you wish. These are generally the ones I want. I do like Rapid Displacement as well. Blink having 2 charges gets you out of trouble really quickly, but in general you're going to want to pick up these here, okay? These ones are going to be the go-to. So how the hell do we play our Frost Mage? Boom. A lot of people really forget about how powerful bombs are. I want to get this out of the way straight away. You want to keep your invocation buff up as much as possible. I will not be doing for the duration of this video because I'm going to be demonstrating other things, but you want this up 100% of the time. Also, 100% of the time, you want your bomb up, whichever it might be. Remember, you can recast this before it expires, and it will still do its business. So you're not waiting for it's like 3, 2, 1, stop casting anything, 1, 0, oh! And then it fell off for a couple of seconds. You don't want to do that. You can just recast it whenever the hell you please, alright? You generally want to recast it when it's got a couple of seconds left before you cast your next spell. 2 seconds, boom, I'm going to recast it, and then your living bomb will still explode as normal. No problems with that whatsoever, and therefore you're going to reach as much to 100% uptime as you can. People really forget how powerful your bomb is, okay? Your bomb is also going to be proccing this, your Frostfire Bolt. Get rid of that when it procs up. Nice instant cast, just going to smash things in the face. Other than that, you're casting your wonderful Frostbolt in between. Keep your Frozen Orb on cooldown. Again, this is Tell Me When. This wonderful add-on, I've done a video on it. Go and check it out and all that good stuff, and you want to be looking for this. More importantly, I want to talk about the wonderful use of Alter Time. Alter Time is one of our most powerful cooldowns, so when we pop things like Icy Veins, and we have all our procs up, we're going to pop Alter Time. This is during the beginning of the fight. We're going to get rid of our Icicles and all that kind of stuff, and then we're going to get back to it, and then you get all your procs back again. So, proper use of Alter Time is to make sure you have 2 procs of Fingers of Frost. Those are your big fat ice lances, and your Frostfire Bolt ready to go. Pop your Alter Time, use those cooldowns, and then get them back again so you get double the bang for your buck. Mirror Images. Mirror Images is a solid DPS cooldown. It's not amazing, so don't panic about it. Try and pop it just before the fight. But if those Mirror Images are going to attack the target for their full duration, about 30 seconds, then they're going to be a DPS increase for you. Other than that, single target is basically going ahead and just casting your instant cast spells as and when. Remember, don't panic about your Fingers of Frost. It will stack up to twice. Use your Frozen Orb on cooldown. I recommend you have some way of tracking it. The other aspect to this is freeze, which comes from your pet. Bosses aren't freezable for the most part, therefore you won't get the benefit of it. But learn what things are freezable. Suppose this is our boss here. This is our Mr. Trader Dummy. I'm going to stick a skull on him. He's a boss. He's unfreezable. But over here, sneaking in my ass, this are a group of ads that I'm told not to DPS, but those gangsters are freezable. What I could do to increase my DPS is I'm going to be DPSing the boss here, like you say, but I'm just going to turn my camera a little ways, and I'm going to pop a freeze right over there, and that's going to give me these 2 charges that I can then pummel into the boss. Learn what is and is not freezable. Okay? Learn what is and is not freezable, therefore you're going to pick up some extra procs on cooldown. Always worth tracking your freeze. Very important. What about AoE? What about our AoE? Our AoE is going to look something like this. If you've got Living Bomb, you want to get Living Bomb spread around. Nice and easy, nothing difficult about that. You want to keep them ticking. I always recommend you keep your target on the first one. That way, when this one's about to expire, guess what? So are all the other ones. And then you can just keep checking up on that and keep them bombs ticking away really nicely. If they're freezable, sure, go ahead and freeze them. This is for about 3 targets. Remember, your Frozen Orb is ridiculous damage. You're going to get to spam away with these wonderful wonderful Fingers of Frost. Your Ice Lancers are going to do a ton of work for you. Really, really nice. And on top of that, if you've only got 2-3 targets, you're just going to be single targeting really and using your Glyph of Splitting Ice to do a ton of damage. When we start getting up to 4 or so targets, you're going to certainly put up a Living Bombs. They're still going to do a ton of damage. But then you're going to start thinking about doing some more stuff like Arcane Explosion and working that way into there. Remember, if you've taken the Glyph of Cone of Cold, which is kind of a big deal if you're doing a lot of bursty AoE, it's well worth slipping that in, but you do need the Glyph to make the Cone of Cold worth it. So bear in mind, again, what encounter requires it, that's when you're going to make that decision, okay? When we get into loads and loads and loads of mobs, and we're talking 10 plus mobs, you're not even going to bother with bombs anymore. You're just going to go straight in there with Arcane Explosion, and then you're going to drop that Glyph of Cone of Cold, and you're going to go boom, Cone of Cold on cooldown. Remember, you need the Glyph to make Cone of Cold worth it, otherwise you're doing Arcane Explosion. Once you start reaching crazy levels of haste, you're going to work in Blizzard. Yeah, Blizzard's going to make its return for you. I'm not quite there yet on this character. But once you start reaching solid levels of haste on your character, you're going to work in Blizzard instead of Arcane Explosion because it will just simply tick more than the Arcane Explosion will. And that's how you do your mass AoE. Just bear in mind that if you do want to do huge AoE, and you're going to be doing it on a regular basis, the Glyph of Cone of Cold is a must. Alright? I want to bring up our mastery just now. If I turn this off and I start doing some deeps, we're going to see our mastery proccing. Our mastery is called Icicles. If I can roll this mouse quick enough, there we go. And you can see these icicles stack up. Now, some people read the new mastery as something that they need to control and think about. You can see here, when damaging enemies with Frostbolt or Frost Fireball, 26% of the damage is stored as an icicle with you for 30 seconds. Also increases the damage of your water elementals Water Bolt by 26%. Up to 5 icicles can be stored at once. Casting Ice Lance causes the icicles to begin launching at the target. So what you might expect is that once you've got 5, you start needing to do something with it. Not so. If you look here, this is the Icicles graphic, this thing here. You can never lose Icicles. It doesn't work that way. You simply do not have to give a shit about Icicles at all, which is a pity. It's a pity. We thought we had something to think about as Frost there for a second, but we do not, okay? It just doesn't matter. It will go and it will do its own thing. Once those Icicles reach 5 and you've had no Fingers of Frost procs, it will just go ahead and use them anyway. You don't have to worry about your Icicles at all. It's nothing you need to worry about. Alright guys, that is everything. That is everything for your Frost Mage. I'm going to show you some gameplay now, exactly how that works on an encounter basis. Enjoy.